5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
You got it there, Julia?
I hope so.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to Truth, Beer, and Consequences. This is a podcast where my co-hosts and I listen to and watch all the Cincinnati-based craft beer media from the previous week. We get together at a podcast host, and today we are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park. Thank you, Higher Gravity, for being a gracious podcast host. Now,
you're welcome, Marco.
Oh,
Holy shit, the building has become
wow.
sentient.
Wow.
Amazing. Wow.
Wow. Thank you for being
the building.
a gracious podcast host. That was the ominous voice of Higher Gravity. My name is Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally. I also brewed beer for several years. One of the other voices you heard belongs to the best co-host in Podcastlandia. The other one belongs to the Gnarly Gnome.
Hi.
So all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with. Well, what's happened is we recorded the first episode of 2025 last week.
True.
Which was before 2025, but it released in 2025.
True.
This is the first time we're recording in 2025.
In 2025, yes.
Outside of the Cincy beer events that went really, just without a hitch. All thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with, such as part-time jobs, full-time jobs, third jobs, Higher Gravity,
or the sentient building that is Higher Gravity.
That's right.
However, they could be attributed to places that we're not affiliated with.
That's true.
Like Elon Musk. All of my thoughts and opinions are his and his alone.
And the gnome can speak for who he wants, and so he's speaking for Elon.
All right, that works.
Secretary of State Elon Musk.
Sue me, bitch.
Or whatever.
Wouldn't that be cool?
What if he sued you?
Yeah.
I don't.
That'd be so cool.
I don't know about that. I don't want to watch you get run to the ground by.
You see that?
No,
see that on WCPO
leading?
leading?
Cool.
Jeez.
What's he going to take?
Local
My
blogger,
Cybertruck?
Cybertruck mogul Elon Musk and friend of President Donald Trump is suing local beer blogger.
That'd be so cool. That's a good headline.
Oh, I guess all publicity is good publicity.
Mm-hmm.
You may remember the Gnarly Gnome from his incident a few years ago with the Hofbräu House.
Which I still think is because of Elon.
And most
I think
recently
he was behind
of
it.
Cincy Beer Week and Cincy Beer Week fame. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm also a AAA member.
No.
You are.
Yeah, again.
Congratulations.
Card carrying AAA
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Is it an app now, or do you need a card?
I think they're going to mail me a card, I think. But I have an app.
Okay.
I have an app. But I think I get a card. I think I get like a golden card or something.
Nice.
That's nice.
$120.
Thanks for sponsoring AAA.
There we go.
Speaking
what
of
are you drinking?
sponsorships, Speaking of sponsorships, so we do the heavy lifting over here. We're not like those fake ass podcasts out there. So we make sure to do our drinking around here. Gnome, what you drinking?
This is probably the best beer in the world. Carlsberg.
There you go.
Ah, really?
You got to read the packaging to understand the reference, but yes, it is probably the best beer in the world.
All right. Marco, how about yourself?
This is probably not the best beer in the world. What I'm having right now actually is a Weinstefaner NA.
Okay.
And
the Weinstefaner.
Weinstefaner. It's not some I don't love it.
Well, they forgot the alcohol.
Julia, what you drinking?
I am having from Gilligan's, a.k.a. Westside, their Welsh Winter Warmer.
That was a good beer. I might have to have one of those, too.
I enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy it. Quite good. First was exposed to it in the Higher Gravity Beer Vent box this year, and glad to see it on the shelves, even though that may irk some people.
Well, speaking of, Julia, are we going to... not say anything, or do we want to say something about what we recorded earlier?
Yes, we did a bonus episode that you should see both on the YouTubes as, audio only and in your podcast feed. We did a bonus episode with Jason from Higher Gravity doing kind of a post-mortem things that you may or may not have learned about.
The Jason from The Higher Gravity?
The Jason.
The one and only. Talking about the beer vent box, the 2024 beer vent season, and a little bit about dry January and continuing to support your local establishments.
Yeah.
So check that out. Good conversation.
It was a good conversation.
Yeah.
I always like talking to Jason.
Likewise. All right. Before this is already, I don't even know where it's going, but we do have a couple shows that we're going to
Only
try
a couple,
and talk
so we
about.
have a little bit of time.
So we have
to,
a bit of time to kind of pad this with
toggle back and
nonsense.
forth a little bit.
We have, I'm going to say 1 1/4 episodes of the Weekly Pint to talk about.
There was like 37 episodes.
If you do each one individually, so that's going to be disjointed as always. We have an episode of Bruce Guy's Booze News Barstool Perspective, which I'm calling Cooks in the Kitchen.
Okay, very good.
We have an episode of the Craft Parenting Podcast. And we have Blake the Brewery Explorer, just kind of a quick touch on his episode where he talked to a not local author.
I always like to quickly touch Blake.
Who doesn't?
He appreciates it.
He does.
He lets us know.
Yeah,
pat.
yeah.
It's like
What is happening?
It was spinning in a circle, and
Like
that's
a-
the sound it makes when it spins.
I looked away. I did not
like
see
hitting
my
a snowbank.
Okay. Speaking of snowbanks, how'd you guys do with your parking? Oh my God! I don't know if anybody's been to Higher Gravity this week. I
parked. I parked. That's the.
I don't even know
say.
if you could say I parked. I was coming in the road, and I know where I'm supposed to park, and there was a mountain of snow.
Mm-hmm.
So I literally gunned the engine and just embedded my car into it, just right into it.
I mean, that way you don't have to brake.
And
It's
then
just one of those, yeah.
I folded down the back seat, crawled out the trunk, and that's how I got out of the car.
Yeah.
It is embedded in a mountain of snow right now.
There was a car parked in a spot that I know there was at least one other spot in front of it. So I'm like, I'll use that as my guide. And so if they're wrong, I'm just following the trend.
They're wrong. I'm just following the trend,
And I'm just
January 6th and all.
Which always makes me wonder when you see a car parked like an asshole, like they're over the line or they're crooked or whatever. Are they the asshole, or were they just following the trend sent by other cars before them?
Right.
And then those cars left, and so you have no idea.
They're the asshole. Now, if you're dealing with snow, there is definitely a little bit of leeway allowed.
Sure.
You'll see like it snows early in the day, and then later it melts because the sun comes out or whatever, and then all the cars are all parked weird. Nobody matches with the lines. That's forgivable.
Yeah.
If you just have some jerk that's just parked weird, he's just a jerk or she's just a jerk.
So you don't ever take into account that there could have been another vehicle around them
Nope.
that forced them to park.
Nope, I take
in a weird way.
take a
Okay.
dump right on the top of the car.
Oh God. Okay.
Several years ago when it snowed, not nearly this bad, but it had snowed, and I used to go to the gym, be a member of the gym, and I would train and all
Yeah,
those
me
other
too.
shit.
You can probably tell.
Yeah. That was several
No.
years ago for me.
Do you work out?
Yeah, every day.
You train?
Yeah.
Caroline will be very happy to hear that.
There was
I
a
love trains.
a Jeep.
I mean, yes, I train.
You know, the snowplows shove all the snow into certain sections of the parking lot. So a lot of times in the middle of a parking lot would just be a giant,
Oh yeah,
like, hill of snow.
a mountain.
Yeah. A fucking Jeep decided to park on it.
Okay.
Of course, because it's a Jeep. Yes.
Full disclosure, my very first car that I ever owned was a Jeep.
Okay.
I loved that car very much. I was a teenager. I always parked on the snow too. Yeah.
I mean, if you have a vehicle that can do it, why wouldn't you?
At
You know
the
what I mean?
time,
Like, I can't fault that.
At the time, I worked at a department store in the mall. And so we parked out in the big giant mall parking lot with massive piles of snow.
Yeah, yeah.
And every single night I would park on a mountain of snow.
Did you ever come out after your shift to find the snow had melted and your
No.
car was now
Slide
up on
down
like
the
a
hill.
No.
concrete pillar? Okay.
Nope, never had that happen, but it was a concern. They usually, they didn't usually like collapse like that until
Yeah.
after you had to worry about it. They kind of turned into just a big ice ball.
Yeah.
So
True.
eventually you just couldn't get back up on it.
True.
But when it was snow and you could get some grip and get up on there, you're fine.
Yeah. I mean, if I had a Jeep, I would do that.
It was
Not
pretty
gonna
fun.
lie. Yeah.
Never had to look for a spot. You had the spot.
You made your own spots.
Those were big hills too.
Yeah,
I don't know
they
if
were.
malls still exist. I don't know if any kids know what those are, but
Probably not.
big
Well,
parking lots.
Yeah.
Think if you like smashed 4 Costco's together.
Do you want to talk about any podcast tonight?
Nah.
No?
Let's just drink.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So,
See ya.
yeah, all right.
See you guys later.
I mean, we'll just kind of get on out of here. And, yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
I feel like she didn't have to make that go so long.
We forgot to do the NFL Deathmatch challenge.
Oh, well,
so we
shit.
needed to come back for that.
Yeah, all right. So let's go ahead.
Since we're here.
That was way too loud.
Wow.
My bad, guys. My bad. So we are done with the regular season of the NFL Deathmatch Challenge.
Yeah.
So once Don Rock the Imposter on YouTube is done serenading us, gorgeous, beautiful. I absolutely freaking love it.
Great.
I guess we need to go over everyone's points for the regular season.
Okay.
We can if we need to.
I'm asking
That's
the
fine.
two of
It's
you.
fine.
You sure? You sure? You're not gonna.
Yeah, let's do it.
You sure? No?
It's fine. I'm gonna have a few things to say.
Okay. So Marco, you ended the season, the regular season, with 14 points.
Okay.
Well done. I ended the season with 13 points.
Yep.
Almost there. And Gnome, you ended the season with 10 points.
But
Yeah.
But how many of those games should the Bengals have won? I'm going to say almost
18.
all of them.
Yeah. 17. 17 at least.
And the fact that the Chiefs just shit the bed.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. They didn't want. They
I
didn't
don't
want to
like
have
this.
They didn't
want to
have to play us. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like
with
it.
the Bengals.
Yep. Nope. They were scared.
You can pick them this week if you like. The
No.
Bengals.
I thought you were saying
I
the
might.
Chiefs, and I absolutely never will. But yes, now we are moving on to the postseason, the wild card round. This is going to be interesting as we go from
That was my nickname in high school.
oh goodness,
Wildcard.
as we go
a cool
through
nickname.
the postseason
pretty
before
good.
the Super Bowl, we have the wild card rounds. We have the divisional rounds, and then we have the NFC and the AFC championships. As we get farther into the postseason, the number of teams decreases, so we will be figuring out exactly how we're going to pick kind of the...
You'll see why the name Deathmatch comes into
Yes,
play.
yes.
One of us will have to die.
Eventually, yeah, the whole dynamic of this podcast will change. Yeah. So, Marco, let's start with you. Who are you picking?
all right.
I know,
I
exactly.
keep a stick with
For,
nails in it in the car just for this situation.
I've seen it. It's terrifying.
Yep.
Who are you picking for the wild card round of the postseason for, I guess, the 2024 NFL season? I've said season too much already, so I'm just
24,
gonna
25.
yeah.
2024, 2025.
I'm gonna go chalk here, and I'm gonna take the Bills over the Broncos.
That was my top choice.
All right. I put Bulls, not Bills. Let me go ahead and fix it on the spreadsheet. Gnome, who would you like to pick?
I'm going to take the Commanders, I believe.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Over the Buccaneers. Yeah, Commanders are the dogs, 3-point dogs.
All right. And then I think that I'm going to have to go with...
The Steelers.
Fuck no.
Oh, gross.
Oh, God. That's just nasty.
Well, you can't go Baltimore
No.
either.
Oh,
Fuck no.
oh, gross.
No,
Oh.
absolutely not. Even if it comes down to me like halving, like there's one of the options, I might take a bye. I might just say, nope, sorry, giving up the point. I don't know.
Pick the Bengals.
We,
Yeah.
you know what?
You could pick the
might.
Bengals.
I might. I actually think the Vikings can beat the Rams. I think.
I think so. I think
With
they
the two of
can.
them.
I think anything's possible.
Well, that's true. So I'm going to risk it.
An
and
alien
I'm going,
could abduct Sam Darnold. You never know.
Jeez. I mean, he might for next season.
Yeah.
Depending on where he lands. So Marco's going with the Bills. I'm going with the Vikings. Gnome's going with the Commanders. And that concludes our picks for the wild card round of the NFL postseason. We'll let Don Rock play us out. And then, so are we just not doing a show and this is it? This is all that we're doing today?
I mean, if
Is that
there's
what's
something you guys want to talk about, we can talk about it, I guess.
Well, what do you say we talk about Blake? because he talked to an author that the Beers and Beards podcast talked to a couple weeks back. That was their episode 165. We actually talked about that in our episode 177. David from Beers and Beards is featured in this book on page 154. And what book are you talking about? Because I, started in the middle of the interview, basically. Joel Geyer wrote a book called Flights Across America. He has been to over 1,000 breweries, over 1,400 breweries.
Oh, I thought it was about
really.
Airports.
No. This is about going to breweries and getting flights of beer.
That makes more sense.
It does.
Now the whole thing makes sense. Oh.
Yep. Let's see. He took a page out of your handbook, Gnome, and he started taking handwritten notes about the breweries he was visiting, but not until he got to brewery number 52.
Okay. Yeah.
So he went, I don't even remember what I did for those first 51 breweries, but I decided
Seemed
I
like
had to
an
start
adolescent period.
Yeah. Kind of like the intro period, and then you actually figure out, I really want to start talking to this. Let's see. This is going to be quick because it's not Cincinnati-based, and we have mentioned this book before. Let's see. There were some fun laws that Joel discovered while he was traveling, such as you have to buy food where you buy your beer in a lot of states still.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little
And some,
archaic.
you can't buy food where you buy your beer.
Exactly.
Weird.
All depends on how the laws have been
Which would
written.
you prefer? You have to or you can't?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I would prefer to have to buy food because I more often have thought, man, I wish I could get some food while I'm here. I don't think I've ever thought, man, it really sucks that they have a food program at this brewery.
Sure.
Like, I've never wanted the food program to not be there.
I think that's where I'm leaning, but this is all with the stipulation that I need I don't need full on brew pub.
No.
I'm talking I want to walk in and be like, hey, look, I'm sorry, you got to get food. Do you want a pickle on a stick? Like that kind of thing.
Do you want a bag of dicks?
Okay, yep, I'll take a pickle on a stick or something like that.
Sure,
something fun.
Yeah, agreed 100%.
I don't want look, man, we're a brewery here in this weird backward state. You got to get food. All we have is steak. You got to get your steak or fresh lobster.
Although if they said all we have is steak, I don't think I'd be upset as long as I could pick how that steak was cooked.
It would change my plans for the night, though.
Oh, it would. It absolutely would. It absolutely would. So I think that I would prefer, though, to have to buy something to consume outside of the beer rather than, sorry, you can't buy food if you're getting a beer.
I have a theory that, pretty much every drinking experience is probably made better with some kind of food.
I would agree.
With it.
I would agree. I mean, how often are we consuming dicks while we're drinking here?
Well, I consume a lot of dicks in my life. So
Absolutely.
I actually had dicks for lunch.
It enhances the experience.
I finally did the dick sandwich.
Excellent. How was it?
A barbecue dick with a hot dick on top. It was actually really good.
So did you just have the two? So did you sandwich the hot between the barbecue? Because you said
Nope.
sandwich.
Nope. It was technically not a sandwich because you can't
open-faced.
sandwich with chips. No, it was two chips. What?
So anyway, in this interview that Blake had with Joel Geyer, to somewhat pull this back on track, maybe, if that's even possible.
Go ahead.
I don't
Slap
know.
it back on track.
All right.
Oh,
Pull it.
God. Yes. What?
Pull it.
Oh, no.
Pull it back on track.
Gotta pull it.
There we go. He talked about questions that he learned to ask when he was visiting breweries, ask for their recommendations. What are the potential flagship beers from a brewery? You might be handed a beer that you wouldn't normally pick on your own.
Right.
Maybe it's not even advertised as their flagship beer, as one of their best sellers, as an award-winning beer. So you can get a lot of new experiences based on a bartender's recommendation, if you can get the bartender to talk to you, as we have had in other conversations. And what is he liking and not liking in craft beer currently, and that he's seen in his travels.
Yeah.
It's kind of all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good interview, but there wasn't a ton. Otherwise, we would be recapping or telling you everything, and we want you to listen to this episode. It was good. It was good. I'll put a link to the book in the show notes. I believe I did the same thing when we talked about this, or not interview, but when Beers and Beers mentioned this book. They did not do an interview. Blake did do an interview, and I noticed that a couple of the other national beer podcasts have also talked to Joel as well, but I think Blake was the first. So Blake is blazing trails yet again with the people that he is talking to and the subject matter he is putting out into the world.
Great job, Blake.
Awesome.
Excellent work.
Do you guys want to move on to Craft Parenting Podcast or Barstool Perspectives next?
Let's go. Yep, Craft Parenting.
Okay. I was going to say, you said yep, and I'm like, I gave you 2 options, and so yes is not a viable answer for that. This is Craft Parenting Podcast episode 234, our 2024 year in review and looking ahead to 2025. Not going to be a super long recap because not a lot of this over hour long
It was a
episode.
lot of the parenting.
Yeah, it was more parenting than beer, but there were a couple of beer-related things that they talked about, so we are absolutely going to mention that. They had 28 beer episodes in a row between November 30th and January the 1st. Thank you, Beer Vent.
That's great work.
That is a lot of content.
That is really great work.
They did a great job between the Beer Vent post, talking to Hearth Brewing, talking about task closing, all that. Phenomenal job. And again, next year we expect an actual live. daily Beer Vent post. Exactly.
Yep.
With as many inanimate objects as you need to replace. God, wouldn't that be great if
you got snowmen, reindeer. You could get some dogs, trees. Mm-hmm. What else?
What they need to do, Joe and Caroline. Here's an idea for you. Because you had a couple episodes during Beer Vent where an inanimate object replaced either Joe or Caroline, there needs to be an episode where there are 2 inanimate objects and you guys are just doing voiceovers to where neither of you are actually in frame. I think that would be hilarious.
With reindeer antlers?
Yeah, I think it'd be hilarious.
Here's the bigger question. So mine is easy.
Okay.
If you had to be replaced by an inanimate object, what would your object be? Mine's obviously a garden gnome. That's easy.
Okay.
Just stand there with your rake in one hand.
Yeah. Eggplant.
Rake.
Okay.
It's a rake. No gnomes with the rakes.
Yeah.
Eggplant stays tucked away. Oh, you are the eggplant? What's your inanimate object?
Notebook. It's a notebook.
You are a notebook. Okay.
I mean, if you look at
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it tracks. It's the most boring thing in the
so
world.
Marco is an eggplant, and you are a notebook. Okay. I feel like there needs to be some kind of cartoon.
If someone can turn that into an image, don't. I don't know if we can handle that. Joe is doing dry January, so he is a quitter for the month of January.
Caroline
also hates supporting his local breweries.
I know.
Caroline found out and she's like, nah, I ain't doing that.
Well, no. Caroline said she's going to
no?
She's going to do dry some of March.
Some of March, because she can't do dry March because of Bachfest. But once Bachfest is over, all bets are off. So good on them for, choosing to do what they want to do. But
she'll be dry in March, one Friday night into one Saturday afternoon.
I'm going to do dry some of Thursday.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, they have had some growth on all of their distribution channels in 2024. So YouTube, the podcast, their blog. Yeah. So great on them for that. Absolutely. If it wasn't for us sharing the good word of Craft Parenting Podcast, no one would know about it.
When your channels shrink in a year, there is a problem.
So we have a problem now.
That's a problem if that happens.
Yes. But no, that is absolutely fantastic for them. I'm excited to see how it continues to grow in 2025. Shout out to Team No Prep for doing the pig relay. That was one of the things
Oh man, I forgot about that last year.
You blocked it. You completely blocked it. Like, no, heat stroke. Not going to think about it anymore. Caroline is kind of training again, and I'm concerned she might come to us saying, "Let's do this again." And
I will only do it if she doesn't prep, and since she's prepping, I'm not doing it.
Therefore, right. Because I mean, you can't have Team No Prep and have someone on the team prep. It destroys the whole thing.
She let us down.
Absolutely. And she also appeared to have like the party part of the course.
Yeah.
What did I have?
Oh,
hills.
yeah.
I had goddamn hills and people holding out like 2 fingers full of Vaseline. I'm like, this is just wrong.
Yeah.
What did she get? She got like wieners being shoved into her mouth and beer and beads.
She definitely had the most selfie opportunities.
I would agree with that. I was more concerned with just putting one foot in front of the other continuously than taking pictures.
I don't know if I would have. If I had her leg, I don't know if I would have finished.
I know.
I think I would have ended up somewhere and be like, you know what? This is
hey guys,
better.
Can you just pick me up in Marymount because that's just
100%. My biggest struggle was street side. running past street side, seeing everybody there drinking beers.
And you're like,
I'm like, I could just not keep going.
Do that.
And then you can see the city in the distance. I'm like, that's really far away.
Yeah.
And there's beer right there, not far away. Yeah. I would have made it. I would have texted you guys, be like, hey.
Hey,
come here.
I'm done. Hey, guys,
I think they moved the finish line. Meet me here. We would have made our own finish line. We would have ran through it. It would have been fine.
Yeah, we would have had a blast. And Caroline got the packets and the shirt. Like, she...
Yeah, I'm proud of Caroline
my God,
for
she did so much work.
Getting our things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we would have been confused.
It wouldn't have happened.
We would have showed up and like, what do we do now?
I'll be honest, if it were up to anyone else to pick up the packets and all that, it would not have happened.
Yeah,
I don't think it would have been. It would have been nearly as productive.
Something non-beer related that they talked about, but because we've talked about it multiple times, I want to mention, they talked about getting
trains
back.
Oh.
Well, that too.
Okay. Yeah, they talked about
to German dancing.
Yes, getting back to German dancing.
That expect to see them at more events and more beer gardens and dancing at any available opportunity.
Beer gardens.
Yes, such as the Saunders and the Donna Schwabens and everywhere else.
They talked about every single place they visited, interaction they had at the different places, and all that.
The
stuff.
final goodbye to Taft's.
Final goodbye to Taft's, yeah.
And then some of their goals for 2025, more steps, more channel consistency, and not doing all of Lily's homework for her.
It's good. It's good goals.
Good goals, yeah, absolutely. Any other notes on this episode of Craft Parenting Podcast?
Let me check. Let's see. We got the only
hour and 20 minutes.
Only real fans got that. We got the dancing. Yep, I think I'm good.
All right, cool.
There was a part when Joe said that they left for Indianapolis on this day, and then Caroline said, no, we left on this day. He's like, I don't think so. I think we left on this day. And then Caroline's like, no, because remember, we had to do the thing at the thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's right, the thing. And then she's like, yeah, we planned it in between this thing and that thing. And then when we came back, we visited another brewery, and then we had the thing because we came back.
Yeah.
Then she hit him, and he's like, yes, ma'am, you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how that went.
Yep. What do you say we take a break before we move on to
good idea.
Brew Skies, Booze News, Barstool Perspective, whatever they're calling themselves these days, and the Weekly Pint? Sound
sure.
Good?
Yeah. I'll accept that.
All right. We will be right
back.
Do we want to talk about Barstool Perspectives or the Weekly Pints?
Let's do the Weekly Pints.
The Weekly Pints. All right. We're going to start with, because we recorded on a Monday last week,
we
have last week's Weekly Pint to talk about as well.
Oh, that's going to be confusing.
The Weekly Pint episode 242, what I called The End is Near, from December 30th, 2024. So long ago.
Way back last year.
Way back last year. Pint Schnapps.
Oh, yeah.
Zierens. Yes. You read the entire bottle down to the proof. You wanted to make sure that we all had all the information on Pint Schnapps. It sounded absolutely delicious.
It's so good.
You had some dark charge woes. You had a broken glass, and you missed the ice cream samples.
Yes.
Yes. Have you?
There's been a lot of broken glasses in my life.
There has been a lot of broken glass. Let's not repeat that tonight, if we can help it. So far, so good. Don't you dare. I remember
this one's solid.
I remember watching when you did that with the taster glass you were going to use, and you set it down, and you just heard this little like crunch. It was your face just like
it was a cocktail glass.
Yeah, it was
like a straight up like martini glass.
Yeah, and just the stem just crumbled.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Yeah.
You were drinking Dark Charge Mackinac Island Fudge.
Mackinac.
Mackinac. Spelled Mackinac, pronounced Mackinac. No one knows. Well, people know why. There are explanations. Go to the Wikipedias. I'll put that in the show notes.
From us.
I'll put a.
Don't get it from us.
No, don't listen to us for anything. This is a bottle from 2022. You kind of reminisced a bit about the past Dark Charges and how you don't know where the name came from because the ingredients didn't really mention that they used fudge
Mackinac
in it, or Mackinac. There was no actual Mackinac or Mackinac in the bottle.
I bet that there is some kind of note somewhere about the blend of coffee that they
probably
used.
Yeah.
They'll probably answer all those questions, but where's the fun in that?
Yeah. Look it up. Go to thegnarlygnome.com and search for Dark Charge. I'm sure there's a blog post. Or
I don't know if I wrote a blog post with them.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
About that Dark Charge, that year's Dark Charge? Normally you do a post for every year.
That was
2022.
Maybe. I don't know.
I will look and I'll put in the show notes if it exists. It's not in the show notes.
Okay.
It doesn't exist. There we go.
I like that.
Impact Beverage has taken over Taft's
Sinbev.
It has consumed it in its entirety. You're hoping that Sinbev eventually opens maybe a Taft's-esque location. A taproom with that brand.
You guys talked about this a little bit last week, right? When
we
talked
did,
about
we did.
Yeah.
I think and I hope that Sinbev kind of takes these brands and lets each brand live on its own own unique spaces. And I hope one of those unique spaces eventually is a Taft space, maybe a Taft Sale House.
I feel like if they do that, with these brands, these legacy brands, and are we considering Taft's a legacy brand now? You talked about kind of in terms of Taft's.
Don't get me started on beer and
that.
pickles because it's even better.
Why don't you tell us your thoughts about that?
It's good.
It's good?
Okay, very good.
Cool. What does success mean anymore? Why some places work and others fail.
Yeah.
It's not always one thing that makes or breaks a brewery, because what works to keep one place open
is the thing that makes another one fail.
Another one close. So there is, I feel like it might be that kind of triangular method of looking at it. Like you can either have it done cheap, fast, or done well. You can only kind of have two of those things. I'm wondering if there's a similar.
I
feel like there has to be more than 3 points, but I'm wondering if
it's like 1,000 points, and I don't know how many of them have to exist to make a success. Even when I say that, I could identify 1,000 things and say you need to have X amount of these, and then there would be that one place that doesn't have any of them, and it's still a success.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. There is no logic to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with maybe it's this, maybe it's that, but it's not. I mean, you can't say it's all based on the community it's part of, the neighborhood, the this or that. There's some weird spark that either kind of exists or doesn't, but it's not, that spark's not the same for every place. So you can't.
It's like Marco. We shouldn't love him, but we do. Here he is.
He's just
an anomaly.
Yeah. You figured it out.
You don't figure out an anomaly, though, so that makes me nervous. What does that mean, if we figured out the anomaly?
You've only figured out the first part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
West 6 Cub House is opening on January the 11th. So as this episode comes out, you only have one more day to wait before West 6 has their own full-on tap room and not just a shipping container.
Out of the box.
Sitting out there, quite literally out of the box.
Out of the box. They had a soft opening already. I don't know what that means for this week. Now that we're diving into the week, I don't know if you can sneak in sometime. I don't know.
I know. You're down in Northern Kentucky more than I think either of us are.
Not this week. I can't get down there. When I get down there, I get flat tires.
This is true.
I'm afraid of Kentucky.
Yeah. I guess I'm the next closest, and we'll see if I make it down there.
I should be down there at some point.
I definitely don't have any plans to make it to Kentucky.
Yeah. All right. For the new year, you don't make resolutions, but if you did, and then you kind of got distracted by talking about fidget toys, did you get
toys.
one?
Did you get one?
I'm still shopping.
Okay.
I'm looking for a good one.
A good one?
I don't want to buy some stupid cheap plastic thing.
You can't rush it.
I saw one online that was called the diddle stick or something. That might not that might not be what it might have been. A fidget stick. I don't know. It was something like that. But it looked pretty good, pretty promising, but
some of the resolutions that you didn't make, because again, you don't make resolutions,
right,
are to drink more craft beer and to eat and spend money at more local places.
And here I am drinking Carlsberg.
Yep.
I'm a failure. I can't do it.
Plenty of days left in the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. You don't have to be perfect every single day. Just a majority of the
I strive to be.
There you go. Let's see. Other things that you talked about. You want to do more Patreon content. You want to have work on more for YouTube and your website. So many thoughts on so many places of gnomeness.
Mm-hmm. Gnomeness everywhere.
Yes, all the gnomeness, every single place.
Merch.
Exactly. Merch, getting stuff. I actually have my gnarly bomber jacket today.
That is a good
Super
hint
warm.
at the first drop.
Ooh.
That specific jacket will not be in the drop, but that is a good hint at it.
Excellent. Sniff and sip count for this episode, unless either of you guys had any other notes on this episode.
Let's go.
All right. 17 sniffs. Okay. There was a lot of smelling the pine schnapps.
Oh, it smells so good.
34.
What's up?
17.
17, yep. And then 8 sips.
All right.
So that's a total of 25 countables, 50 ounces as you're playing our drinking game.
That was going to be my guess, yep.
Yeah, 3.125 pints are what we ended up with in this episode. Now let's move on to an episode that made me just sad for you, Gnome.
Oh, it was so frustrating.
Episode 243, Dig Me Out It's Drinking Time. I think you meant Dig Me Out of My Internet Hell.
Right, there was that.
There was no schnapps. There was no reliable internet.
Kind of schnapps.
There were no quiet kids.
Schnapps.
There were
the
so
43?
many.
Yes.
There was, yeah.
43.
Spanish schnapps. Yes. Which I love the question that you posed that kind of kept skipping in and out how many ingredients are in this. And I'm like, I'm going to answer. And then you answer because
what's funny, too, is
the delay.
With, as I was telling to you earlier, how I was waiting for the weekly pint, and then it would start, and then it would stop, and all this other stuff. And then I was waiting for another notification. And
look, I'm sorry. I tried.
It's okay. But what I did is I started watching a cocktail video, and they were using that same 43 in the cocktail.
Oh, nice.
YouTube is fascinating.
It really is. In this episode,
did it know? It might have.
In the kind of kludged together episode, I don't think I got everything. So the sip and sniff count for this episode is wildly inaccurate, just because there were times I saw you lifting the glass, and then I couldn't. Then all of a sudden, when it caught up, like the glass was nowhere to be found. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
But we did find out what an abominable snowman Hatton was.
Yeah.
You played with a Snow-Tato, which you never called it a Snow-Tato. I was so upset about that. It was such a perfect setup for that. Yeah. But if you ever wanted
to know...
It's
the name of a movie, a winter movie, Snow-Tato.
Snow-Tato?
Yeah.
All right. It was an amazing looking cocktail, which turned just into a bourbon slush-ish.
Not even a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, not everything is going to be a winner.
What happens when you use crappy booze.
Or you got to get that high quality snow.
Yeah.
I'm going to blame the booze, personally.
Let's see what else was there in this episode. The health benefits.
That would have been a better cocktail, to take the Snow-Tato and just use the liquor 43 and pour it over top so it turned into yellow snow.
And then just eat the Snow-Tato?
Yeah, just call it the yellow snow.
Yeah. Everything may or may not cause cancer.
Yeah, most things do. And there are a lot of things that do that we don't find the need to slap a label on to remind you that it does. We get it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not healthy. We don't care.
I have never grabbed an alcoholic beverage going, man, I'm going to be healthier after drinking this.
Or pick one up and be like, I wonder if this causes cancer.
Guess what? Care. The oranges that you're picking up are going to cause cancer. Everything causes fucking cancer.
They're going to be like sending up big giant things into the sky to cover up the sun that says, danger. If you stand out here, it'll cause cancer. Didn't they try that
and just caused the hole in the ozone layer?
No, I think that was different. I think that was hairspray.
Oh, yeah, Aquanet.
Oh, the Aquanet.
Yeah, all of it.
Which healed itself, too.
Yeah. Like
pretty cool stuff.
It's amazing.
Aquanet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aquanet heals everything.
Aquanet saved the planet.
The world. Yeah.
Dude, that's great.
Yeah.
Dry January. Is it becoming more popular and or is it helpful at all?
Statistics say last year was less popular, but I feel like a lot of people are talking about it this year.
I was going to say, I feel
freaks me out.
It's always been a thing that I've been aware of, at least the last 10, 12 years, whatever. But I feel like this year somehow it's being talked about more, and I'm not sure why.
I think and I don't know if I really made this point in the episode, but like, I don't care if people do dry January at all. Complete opposite. I think if you feel like you need to take a month off, take a month off.
Sure.
But I do think that if you love breweries or bars or distilleries or places that create or serve alcohol, you should make a conscious effort to, while you're doing dry January, to spend more time at those places buying something else.
Sure, I would agree with that.
I definitely think I notice, or I am noticing, and I think maybe it's because people are trying to be a little bit more out there and letting you know that you can enjoy things at the places you go out to, as far as, you know, non-alcoholic beverages or non-alcoholic cocktails and stuff like that. So there is more social media around, hey, we're this brewery, we're this bar. It's okay if you're partaking in dry January. Come on and, you know, come hang out with us. Come have a non-alcoholic beverage with us.
That doesn't mean people are.
But
that's them just desperate, like trying to remind people that they have other things.
I don't know if it's desperate or just trying to remind people that they have other things.
Like continue to support your local places because they do have an option for you.
Right.
No matter what that option for you at that point in your life, January or otherwise, is.
I think in years past, it was people talking about abstaining from alcohol 100%, and I think now we're getting into the conversation of, well, I have so many different non-alcoholic options to choose from that I'm going to go ahead and do dry January too, but I'm going to partake in those things at places where I'd like to see my dollars go.
Right.
And I hope that's the spin that is actually happening versus people out there just not partaking and not supporting local business.
That's my fear, and especially like considering kind of where a lot of people are economically speaking. I think that there's a lot of people that see it not only as a health thing or as some kind of societal thing. It's a monetary thing. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, you know what? Like, I'm looking at the budget. I see how much I spend when we go out, and I'm having a cocktail with my dinner or whatever. I'm going to cut that out and just save a little money this month coming out of the holidays. I think there's a lot of that going on, and I think that that's also going to stop people from going out and drinking NA beverages at their local establishments.
Yeah, because I mean, NA beverages aren't any cheaper than the alcoholic
sometimes more
version.
Expensive.
Right, so it's not always a financial thing to say, I'm just going to drink NA beer in this specific example. For some people, I'm just cutting that out of the budget, not necessarily for trying to avoid drinking alcohol, but just because they're like, I just need to give my budget a little breathing room, and that is, for a lot of people, a very quick, easy way to not spend a couple $100 a month.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Just $100. I swear, honey. That's it.
That's it. That's all.
Those are all the notes I have for this episode because, I mean, again, it was...
Some of that's going to repeat in the next show that we talk about, too.
Yes, this is very true. Before I get to the completely inaccurate sip and sniff count, anything else from either of you guys?
No, I just hope the best in this new year for your internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I had 3 sips. I can't read my own handwriting. And 3 sniffs.
3?
3 of the again.
Like 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
3.
Total of 6. Because again, I couldn't get
That's
an
fine.
accurate.
Yeah, you use whatever excuse you need to use. I feel like
sometimes
you're messing with me now.
No, but sometimes you raise the glass to your lips, but then you start talking, so you don't take a sip. I couldn't get a confirmed accurate sip count.
Can't you do some kind of digital thing where you like see the level of my drink and measure that out as how many sips I've taken based on ounces?
Potentially, if you always had the drink cam on. So that's 6 countables that I was able to confirm. 12 ounces, under a pint. Do we need to take a break or anything before we get to Barstool Perspective, or can we just go ahead and run through this one?
No.
All right.
No.
All right, let's go. Episode from January the 3rd, 2025, what I'm calling Cooks in the Kitchen.
Okay.
Their resolution, consistency when going live. Again, dry January. Is it here to stay with Gen Z? So they were looking at it from Gen Z is not drinking as much as other generations. Is dry January a bigger thing maybe because of them? Are they causing it to stick more? Which, again, I'm like, it's always been a thing. Or not, always, but it's
building, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely like, it feels like it's getting bigger.
Well, again, I just think there's more options. And with more options gives you the opportunity to decide whether you want to participate or not. And then also how you participate.
Sure. They talked about being nostalgic for George W. Bush, which are words that I never thought I would hear.
He was fun.
But, he was fun.
Oh,
yeah,
that was
pretty fun.
Strategery.
Getting a
Fool me
shoe
once,
thrown at him.
shame on you. Fool me twice.
Shame on you. Wait, that's not how it goes.
Can't be shamed again.
Can't be shamed again.
It was fun.
It was. I agree. I absolutely
It was just
agree.
looking back on it. It was so lighthearted kind of chaos.
Yes.
Whereas now everything has lots of implications to it. Back then it was just man, he's just dumb. But it's fine.
Right. But that was fine.
That's a different time, though. That was right before 9/11.
It was during
9/11.
It was 9/11.
All right. Jeremy Clarkson wants people to stop stealing his glassware. I'm 100% with Bret and Mike on this one. If you're a celebrity and you open up a bar that it has any type of association with you, people are going to steal shit that has that branding on it.
Yep.
Even if you sell it, even if you make it
doesn't matter if you're a
accessible.
celebrity or not.
This is true.
If you open a bar and you have branded glassware, someone's going to take it home.
Yeah. Even if it's not branded, sometimes people will still walk out with it.
You also shouldn't do that.
100%.
You also
100%.
shouldn't do that.
100%.
I get all the sides of this. Don't steal shit.
No.
I watched somebody at a chain restaurant pack up their food in a to-go box and just took the little ramekin of ranch dressing and just put it in their to-go.
Oh my God.
I know a lot of people that had Pizza Hut cups and stuff like that, and we're really proud of the fact that we stole these from Pizza Hut. Isn't that
You're
cool?
just no. So apparently Brett's mom is a glass thief.
That's what he said.
Can I make a confession?
Oh.
I've stolen one glass in my life.
Yeah? Where was it from?
Max Pizza Pub when I was in college.
Max Pizza.
Did you steal it intentionally,
Yes.
or was it okay?
Nope,
Okay.
it was intentional.
All right.
It was a really cool Mount Carmel pint glass. I stole it.
All right. Do you still have it?
Yeah, of course.
Well, there you go. I don't
It's
know
part of the collection.
if
I've never seen it again. It's now a collector's item.
Well, there you go. I can't condone the theft, but it's cool that you have a piece of memorabilia.
It's the only time I've ever stolen anything, and I felt terrible about it, and almost took it back the next day, and then I didn't.
All right.
All right.
Now I'm glad I have it.
Let's see. PBR contract brewing at AB InBev. Jim Cook started off with contract brewing. Is PBR craft?
PBR's been contract brewed.
Well, not always.
Well,
for a very long time. I think it's a silly argument at this point. Being contract brewed does not make you not craft.
Mm-hmm.
They're still not, though. And I don't know why Mike kept talking circles around it. They're not.
Yeah. That was kind of what
they're definitely not a craft brewery.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that some of the products that they make aren't or haven't been craft. It
was a weird part of the conversation.
They have a physical location. It's mostly like an event space. But as far as I know, I think there's a brewery in there, and they have produced things. And I know they had a whole line of other more crafty beers that they made. Where does the line between craft and not craft start and stop?
Well, it ties back into the whole what is craft conversation.
Yeah.
What makes, you could have, for some people, Yingling is still craft. For some people, Sam Adams is not craft.
Right.
It really just depends on an opinion almost.
Is Monster energy beer, whatever stuff
doing,
is
that
that more craft than a Boston lager? I don't think so.
No.
But it's a smaller brewery.
Right.
How do you define what makes craft and what doesn't? I think that it's an interesting peek into why somebody drinks what they drink and kind of how they feel about it.
Yeah. Speaking of what people drink and how they feel about it, according to Bret, Spotted Cow is not a good beer.
It's a fine beer.
I think it's fine.
It doesn't deserve the
accolades that it gets. Every time I am able to get one, I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. It's fine beer.
Do I say, man, I'm really glad I had this over something local? Not necessarily, but I'm glad I had it.
Am I driving to Wisconsin to get a Spotted Cow? No.
No. Am I paying someone that I know is going up there to bring back some? Maybe, just depending on stuff. But I'm not. I know it's not the best beer in the world. But that exclusivity, the fact that it's not something you can get all the time, I always enjoy
fun.
every one that I have. Yeah,
Fun.
it's more fun to get and fun to enjoy. Doesn't necessarily make it the best beer out there. This is the first time in 20 years that more breweries have closed than have opened. And hopefully that trend is going to slow in 2025, but I don't know.
I think 2025 is going to be rough.
See. Maybe after 2025 things will get better.
Yeah, it'll pick back. It'll pick back up, but
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think this
year
year is
Another
just
down year.
another tough one.
Yeah. Boston Beer Company. Jim Cook's wife will inherit all of Jim's shares, which they kind of talked a bit about.
I don't know why that's a
the
surprise to
type of
anybody.
no, right. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, and did he just recently change his will for that? Like, is this not?
No,
been
it's
a
somebody
thing?
looking to
Is
write
this,
something.
You know,
It's
yeah.
dumb.
Well, but they did go into different types of shares, which I wasn't aware. I just kind of assumed all shares are equal, which they are very much not.
No, definitely not.
Which
As
again,
anybody who's invested in a brewery via their crowdfunding efforts would understand. you have no voting rights at all if you buy those shares.
So even though I sold off my entire 401k to buy Tilray stock, do you think I'll ever be able to vote if Tilray has a thing? Okay.
Yeah,
but if I
so
bought Sam Adams
let's
stock,
do it.
I would not.
No.
Because different types of stock.
Different types of stock.
Well, all right. You get Mike's honest thoughts on wine from non-standard grape growing regions, such as California, Napa Valley.
Shocker on his thoughts.
Yeah. But still fun, nonetheless.
Still fun.
Still fun. And the From the Can review, I can't believe they drank what they drank. I hope they stole it, like you said, Gnome, in chat. That is the only acceptable way that I can see for
Hopefully
them
they didn't
to
put down
consume
good
whatever.
rupees for that.
Jeez. I'm telling you. And will they be able to find out what glass I stole when I visited the studio? Find out in the next episode, maybe, or maybe not. They're going to be like going around like, what the hell glass is missing?
Yeah.
I made sure it was something that wouldn't be noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Any other notes before we get to the sip count for this episode?
I got nothing.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All
Starting
right.
out 2025. Let's go.
Mike took 19 sips.
Okay.
Bret in his amazing textured drinking vessel. What was
it?
it?
A strawberry or a papaya?
Was it a mango with goosebumps? I have no
I think
idea.
It's a papaya.
It looked
Papayas
like
don't have bumps.
I don't know what a papaya looks like, so that's what I'm guessing.
like a puffer fish.
It was like a I don't Bret, what was your glass? Cup, thing, vessel, I don't even know what to call it. What was your
It was a
ceramic
papaya
drinking
husk.
thing? A pusk?
Wow.
Ew, no.
Wow.
No. Anyway, the sips. Bret took 24.
Okay.
So that's a total of 43 in this episode.
Okay. All right.
86 ounces to start the year.
Sounds good.
5.375 pints.
That's
and I believe
working.
it's like around 37 minutes for this episode.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. They did a fantastic job, and I am
Wonderful.
so glad that they are back with the live episodes. I'm sorry. Maybe
It's going to start 2025 off right.
it's still early in the year, so it's okay. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up before we wrap this show up?
No, I'm good. It was
All
good.
right. If you like this episode, go to truthbeerpod.com. That's where you'll find links to everything else that we do, and link to joining our Patreon, where all of the nonsense and kind of audio troubleshooting we were trying to do for this episode and talks about only rail fans will go, because I don't know how much of that I want to be public. We'll find
was
out.
pretty good.
It was pretty good. But it might need to be special for special people.
Maybe.
And those special people sign up for Patreon and get unedited episodes.
That's right.
of absolutely everything we do.
They can learn how to see my butt cheeks.
Oh, my God. Yes, they can. So if you want to know.
Where to tune in
How to
and
see-
catch my butt cheeks. Both of them.
Oh, my God. Well,
See it on our
to
channel.
wrap this up, no, Marco, what are you guys going to be doing next Tuesday?
I think we're going to be doing this.
I'm going to be flashing my butt cheeks.
Oh, my God. You probably are.
Let's start now.
Cheers. No.
Here they are.